Well, I'm meteorologist Vin Crosby, and it is that time. The number one question I have been asked for the past, say, month is what does our winter look like? It is something I've been doing for years. If you follow me on TV for the past 15 years, I've been on TV here. We have actually given, or I've given, the winter weather outlook, and only 1 year was I wrong in what the prediction of snow would be for the upcoming season. And this year, it looks like we are in a transition stage again. And unfortunately, if you like snow, it is not looking too great. We're going to talk about that in greater detail coming up. It's all because of the El Nino. The way the winter weather outlook looks for us here in Idaho and the West is basically hinged on three things. Whether it's a La Nina, a normal pattern, or an El Nino weather pattern. Behind me, you can see the peaks of Bogus Basin. Those two antennas off in the distance, way up there, one to my left, one to my right. Those are the highest peaks where we love to ski in the winter. And I don't think that the ski areas are going to be hampered financially because of the El Nino forecast, which usually limits snowpack up in the mountains. And I'll explain a little bit why that is going to be. First, let's break down what an El Nino is. An El Nino is something that phenomena that we've discovered now with research when the water temperatures down around the equatorial Pacific are warmer than normal, about a half degree above normal where they should be or higher, and they sustain that for 3 months. That's called an El Nino. And that has real large-scale effects on the global weather pattern. One of them being it adjusts the jet streams around the west, or particularly around the northwest. Doesn't mean we're not going to see any moisture. Doesn't mean we're not going to see any heavy precipitation or heavy snow for that matter. But because of this split flow that comes into the west, we see a portion of the jet stream go up towards Seattle and then go up into Canada, and then another southern portion of the jet stream kind of sag into lower latitudes going down into California. And where it sets up in California, typically, that is when they get hammered with copious amounts of moisture, mudslides, rains, rock slides. It's just a nasty situation. But for us, it takes a while for that transition to set in across much of the Northwest. Notice the map shows the southern jet stream in the United States brings a very wet and much cooler weather pattern down in the southern United States. And because of that, we'll see tremendous amounts of rain down in the southeast, possibly some flooding, and real low temperatures because of the cloud cover and the flooding conditions that could be around the region. The other condition that the El Nino has in the northwest and Canada is that the temperatures are above normal for much of the season. And so that's the big fly in the ointment, if you will, when it comes to snowpack. And so what I see happening this year is that we'll get a pretty good amount of moisture coming our way November and December. And up in the mountains, it will be in the form of snow for the most part. Could be the highest of elevations. But there's a lot of melting that takes place in an El Nino year where the snowpack doesn't last very long. And so sadly, next year, it looks like we'll be going into a dry summer and a dry pattern where drought conditions will exist. Snowpack should be lower than normal conditions through the duration of the winter and into early spring. So lower than normal snowpack conditions expected across much of Idaho and the Northwest. But like I mentioned, perhaps just around Thanksgiving, things will start to crank going on in towards much of December. Ski areas, I think, should be able to open in this winter season prior to the break, whereas they make most of their money during the school breaks. And so that will get them, into the black, which is a good thing. However, going on through the rest of the season, January, February, March, things look like it could be few and far between. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm about a quarter to maybe a little bit close to halfway up Bogus Basin Road right now. It wouldn't surprise me in January, February, Groundhog's Day of next year that this will be not covered with snow. It'll still be here in the same conditions, maybe patches of snow around the area. So that's kind of the winter I think we're looking at. Now, the Treasure Valley. We typically do get some snow in the Treasure Valley during El Nino years, but it's not a whole lot. We could get maybe 4, 5, 6 inches of snow in some storms and some pockets around the Treasure Valley, but for the most part, I don't see any copious amounts of snow. Certainly not a harsh winter by any standard, and a pretty tranquil winter, if you will. West end of the valley, well, of course, we're going to deal with the inversions. We will get our shots of cold air, and it will be chilly. There will be bouts of cold, but overall, this is not going to be a wintry, snowy forecast for the Treasure Valley at all. All right, what am I concerned with the most out of this winter coming up? There is a major concern, and it has to do with me returning from a fishing trip and driving down Highway 55. Highway 55, and any area where you see this, the burnt hillside, watch out. I think Highway 55 will be shut down several times this year, because what is going to happen is that area, in those steep terrain areas, already are showing signs of mudslides and rock slides. It is going to come down, folks. I mean, it is going to come down. There'll be big boulders. That highway, if it's not shut down 3, 4, 5 times this year, I'd be shocked. And I'm talking major shutdowns, like maybe for a day or two, as landslides come down off that hillside. Once we get any periods of precipitation that are extended and it hits that hillside with that burned area, portions of it are going to come down. And I hope that the authorities are watching this, seeing this. I hope that they are taking the precautions now. They should be putting up some barriers there or doing something to deflect that mess that's about to take place in that burned area. I couldn't get over the size of the burn, and right where it is, I mean, if folks who have been here a while, you think back to, I think it was 96, 97, when the Banks area had that rock slide, mudslide come down, and it changed the Payette River into that massive new rapid that's there, but it really washed homes off the bank and gas stations off the bank into the Payette River. This is the type of scenario I see setting up this year, which could be tremendously, tremendously dangerous. So that's kind of the way things are shaping up for this winter weather outlook. What I'm going to do through the month of September is I'm actually going to bring updates on snow forecast and did some research. And so the snow forecast, and you'll see actual snow totals of what I think is going to happen for the Treasure Valley, for the mountains in the Bogus Basin area, back up towards Stanley, around Brundage, around Tamarack. What kind of snows can we expect? And those are the maps I'll bring you with a little bit more in-depth detail coming up as we go through this month of September. And, of course, as things start to unfold, we'll be on it like the weather show has always been. And, boy, what a journey it's been. Over 1,000 subscribers now. Sponsors helping us out. We love our sponsors. If you want to get involved, contact me. Extremely low rates, extremely great exposure, and a lot of my clients are seeing return on investment. So we thank you for supporting them, and keep doing that. Keep doing that. All right, that is the weather show with Vin Crosby's winter weather outlook for this upcoming winter. Be sure to tell your friends and family to subscribe, share this with tons of people. Let's take the weather show with Ben Crosby to a new level. Let's launch the subscribers and get as high as we can this upcoming season.